Guys, how's it going? We're back for another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. First article from Variety. Dakota Johnson is not surprised that Madam Web got ripped to shreds. I probably will never do anything like it again. I don't make sense in that world. Guys, we talked about Madam Web. We talked about it. It didn't work. Sony tried their first female-led Spider-Man project. Did not work. Let's read a little more. Sony's Madam Web is one of the biggest flops in comic book movie history. The Dakota Johnson-led tentpole has only grossed $40 million so far at the domestic box office, and its worldwide gross remains under the $100 million mark. After 3 weekends of release, critics also eviscerated the film. It boasts a 12% score on Rotten Tomatoes from 225 reviews. Ouch. For a star, Dakota Johnson, the reception to Madam Web did not come as a shock. I believe this is a quote. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised that this has gone down the way it has, she told Bustle in a new interview. Is there a reason for that? The publication asked her. It's so hard to get movies made, and then these big movies that get made, and it's even starting to happen with the little ones, which is what's really freaking me out. Decisions are being made by committees, and art does not do well when it's made by committee, Johnson answered. So, as I ask you guys all the time, please continue to read these articles with the link in the description. I have a direct link to the rest of this article. It's a pretty cool article. I thought it was very fascinating. You're seeing Dakota Johnson kind of turn her back on this film. I believe Sydney Sweeney was on SNL this past week. She's turning her back on this film. I think only one of the co-stars that was a main star in the film actually stuck up for the film. But, in her defense of the film, she did blame the fans, and we've talked about that as well. Blaming the fans for your failures. Hey, you know what? It's not the fans' fault that the studio failed you guys. You have some of your main co-stars with you saying that this movie's terrible. So that says something about the movie. Like I said, saw Madam Web. I thought maybe the weakest point of the film was dialogue. It wasn't the worst. Like I said, the budget wasn't terrible. But the thing is, when you're not catering to the core audience, your movie's going to flop. I believe the budget was $80 million. So you would think, if you're doing a Spider-Man based film, it would actually do numbers, but seems they dropped the ball, and that goes on Sony and Marvel Studios, even though Sony kind of took the brunt of that. Next article, Zack Snyder says more people probably saw Rebel Moon on Netflix than saw Barbie in movie theaters. That's how crazy Netflix's distribution model is. I thought that was really cool, and I actually just saw a couple pieces of a Zack Snyder interview on the Joe Rogan podcast. I thought that was really interesting. He gave a lot of insight on some of the films that he has worked on. I'm not a big hater of Zack Snyder. Some of his films have done better than others. I like Dawn of the Dead. I like Watchmen. I thought Justice League was okay. I thought it was much better than Batman vs. Superman, but I just thought that the interview was really interesting, and I think this statement is pretty interesting. Let's read a little more into this. As we've talked about before, guys, streaming is the way now, and it's just telling you that the power of streaming is hitting an all-time high. Now, just because he said that, does it make it factual? No, it doesn't make it factual, but it's an interesting statement to make. Let's read a little more. Zack Snyder appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience, which I just talked about, and championed his recent pivot to Netflix. The 58-year-old filmmaker spent the bulk of his career making movies at Warner Brothers, but he made the jump to streaming starting with the 2021 release of his zombie action movie Army of the Dead. Snyder's latest Netflix original was Rebel Moon, which debuted in December and kicked off a new space saga for the streaming giant. A second Rebel Moon film arrives this spring. During a 2-hour conversation with Joe Rogan, Snyder marveled at the reach Netflix has compared to traditional film studios. He ran some math to prove his point and deduced that Rebel Moon, despite being panned by film critics, probably got seen by more people than Greta Gerwig's Barbie, a box office powerhouse with $1.4 billion worldwide, which made it the highest grossing film in 2023 and Warner Brothers' top grosser in history. Let's read a little more. You think Netflix, for instance, where you push a button, Snyder said, Rebel Moon, right? Say right now, it's almost at 90 million views, right? 80 or 90 million accounts turned it on, give or take. They assume 2 viewers per screening, right? That's kind of math. So you think if that movie was in the theater as a distribution model, that's like 160 million people supposedly watching based on that math. 160 million people at $10 a ticket would be, what is that math? I don't know, 160 million times 10, that's 1.6 billion. So more people probably saw Rebel Moon than saw Barbie in theater, right? I thought that was interesting. I mean, as I said, just because he said that doesn't make it factual. He did some quick math there. He's kind of, I guess, speculating what the numbers would be on that. But it does show you that the Netflix app and the Netflix company, it's really the biggest in the market, and it's kind of got so much market share that the distribution is crazy. I believe Netflix is in a lot of countries, so if they market it correctly, they get on those screens. And when I say market it, I mean actually put it in front of people's faces on the Netflix app when you open it up. I think they could have a lot of reach like that. Did more people watch Rebel Moon than Barbie? I mean, I don't know, maybe, possibly, but the fact of the matter is, I don't think Rebel Moon made $1.4 billion at the box office. So that's where we kind of got to draw the line there. But I thought that article was kind of cool. Link will be in the description. Let's move on to the next article. Some sad news here. Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball manga creator, dies at 68. Akira Toriyama, the highly influential Japanese manga artist who created the medium-defining franchise Dragon Ball in the 1980s and shepherded its growth as it became a global phenomenon, died March 1st due to an acute subdural hematoma. He was 68. Wow, that's crazy, man. I kind of grew up on Dragon Ball Z. If I had to rank it, it'd probably be my number one favorite anime of all time. And I have a lot of animes that I do like, but that one really just cut through different for me. It was something I was tuned into, every episode. I still have VHS tapes of this stuff. Frieza Saga, Cell Saga, Boo Saga, Android Saga. Even some of the movies that they had little spin-off stories on, like Tree of Might, Cooler, Janemba, even some of the GT stuff. I thought GT was a little rushed, but I don't know if he was so hands-on with GT. But Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, definitely standouts. Let me read a little more. Toriyama's death was confirmed by the official Dragon Ball website, which posted a statement honoring the creator on Thursday evening. It's our deep regret that he still had several works in the middle of creation with great enthusiasm. Also, he would have many more things to achieve, reads the statement from Bird Studio, which includes a disclaimer that it has been machine translated. He has left many manga titles and works of art to this world. Thanks to the support of so many people around the world, he has been able to continue his creative activities for over 45 years. We hope that Akira Toriyama's unique world of creation continues to be loved by everyone for a long time to come, and it will. Yeah, this guy, legendary when it comes to the anime stuff. Like I said, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z alone, you don't have to say anything else. It tops damn near everything. So, yeah, that's crazy news. I actually thought he was older than he actually was, but man, that's crazy. Might have to watch some Dragon Ball Z tonight. Next article. This one was really cool. New Fallout TV series trailer reveals just how much of the game is in the show. All episodes for the first season drop April 11th. So anybody that is a fan of the Fallout video game, April 11th, I believe it's going to be on Amazon Prime. The TV show is releasing. Prime Video has finally shared the first official full trailer for the highly anticipated TV series Fallout ahead of its premiere next month. In the trailer, which you can check out below, and I will actually have the link to the trailer in the description as well. I watched the trailer the other night. I thought it was awesome. This is a TV show. Looks like a movie quality, big screen quality. So it looks like they put some money into this, and I think people will really like this, especially if they're into Fallout. Visually, looks amazing. Let me continue. We see Lucy, played by actress Ella Purnell, leave the comfort of Vault 33 to venture off into a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles in a fish out-of-water situation. Purnell encounters the harsh reality of living on the surface hundreds of years after a nuclear war, from getting robbed to near-death experiences. Man, yeah, I think this is going to be awesome. I think if I had Amazon Prime, which I could get easily, I'd probably watch this. It looks like one of the better, video game adaptations. It's funny, as we talked about in the Popcorn Square podcast, we're seeing more adaptations of video games into cinema and television. So, as I said, I think this is just really exciting for anybody that is a fan of the Fallout video game. And I will say, once it does come out, I would love to hear from people that are fans of the video game to just, chime in and say how they feel about the show. Because I always feel like that's important. I think when the core fan base of the video game gets behind the show, everything goes well. And I think the network is happy with it as well. And then you can possibly get a second season. Like we said, we saw it with Last of Us. People loved the first season of that. You know what I mean? So it's only going to propel them. I think Amazon, they're not messing around here. They got the funding for it. Like I said, the trailer looks awesome. Link is going to be in the description. I think they're going to do well with this. So, like I said, guys, April 11th, Fallout. If anybody's interested in that, please watch that and chime in. I think that's going to do it for this broadcast of The Weekly. As I say all the time, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for chiming in. Please like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell for notifications, and be looking out for the Popcorn Square podcast. Might have to push back the podcast this week, but that's okay, because I will fill you guys in with a couple episodes, or I should say minisodes, of The Weekly. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on everything that's happening. There's a lot of good news coming out, a lot of good things coming up, and like I said, we're going to get to Dune once we get to it, and we're going to have some in-depth reviews on that film, and we're going to talk about some other things that are just going on in entertainment, cinema, television, all that. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. This is the broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Thank you for joining. Be safe.